is really my pleasure because last year, also due to travel restrictions because of the pandemic, he couldn't be here last year. So we're especially thrilled to finally get to hear from the CEO of Driivz, Doron Frenkel. Welcome, Doron. It's so great you could make it.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming earlier from lunch, and thank you for being here. It's really exciting to be here and also to see the expansion of the eMobility and how we are moving ahead. So the topics of today will be about scaling up. And when we look at scaling up, when we've started Driivz about a decade ago, there was a big question mark about the EVs. There is no question mark about the EVs now. It's about when it will scale up even more, and we see the scalability all over. So we're going to discuss today the challenges around scaling up the industry, about the role of a digital services platform, and also about some of the key takeaways that we have from the market. Driivz platform serves as the mediator, or it serves between the mobility revolution and the energy revolution. And if we look at that, we truly believe that if we look at the EV revolution and we look at the EVs as battery on wheels, then we will be able to assist the energy revolution, reduce the amount of CO2 emissions, and create a better world for our kids. So how do we do that? The Driivz platform serves as the operating system for EV charging operators. The system is end-to-end, but it's modular, so our customers can pick and choose the models that they are using. And they also can develop their own stuff based on really strong APIs capabilities. So they can configure the system and then can integrate to that, to their own solutions. We are currently managing tens of thousands of chargers directly. We have hundreds of millions of events in the system. We are connected to hundreds of thousands of chargers in roaming. We support over 600 different types of chargers with over 1 million drivers, and we are doing that in over 27 countries. We have customers like EVgo, the largest fast-charging network in the US. We are working with them since 2016, where we developed the core platform, and they are developing, based on the platform, additional solutions. We have customers like ESB that are supposed to be here as well, which are our partners since 2015, working with them in Ireland, Northern Ireland, and in the UK. So our customers are either utilities, gas and oil companies, OEM, automakers, fleets, or standalone service providers. Today is a really exciting day because about an hour ago, we released a PR that Shell selected Driivz as the back office in a variety of countries. And we are really excited. Thank you, thank you. Really excited to work with the amazing team of Shell, and it's just the beginning of a mutual journey. So expansion and scale-up introduces a lot of challenges. What we see is that the number of drivers are increasingly. So we started with thousands, then tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Now it's in the millions. But we are going to have a lot more. It's like the telco industry. We are going to have tens of millions and more. It will impact also the amount of chargers. So if we look at chargers from tens of thousands, we are moving to hundreds of thousands, and we'll move to the millions. It means that from events and transactions, it's about tera transactions. And the impact on the grid is amazing because think about all this impact when you're charging at home, public, semi-public, actually everywhere. So you impact the entire energy value chain. It's not only that, it's about integration, it's about roaming, it's about companies that move from one country to multiple countries. It's about solutions for companies that decide to buy and acquire additional companies, mergers, acquisitions. How do you support that? And there are a lot of interfaces that you need to integrate in order to create this ecosystem. So what are the challenges that a company or a service provider that wants to be in the EV space needs? First of all, they need to look at the solution and whether the IT solution that they currently have can expand. can scale up to where the market is moving. So scaling up is one thing. You also need, as an operator, to see if your current vendor provides you the right solutions, the right functionality, and whether they provide it on time. So it's another challenge, whether you are developing it as part of a homegrown solution or using an external provider. When you get into mergers and acquisitions, you need to make sure that each company that you buy will be embedded within your platform. So how do you integrate? How do you do that? And beyond all of that, it's about time to market. So how do you make sure that you have the right time to market? And with the market that we are in today, how can you make sure that you have the economy of scale? Because developing IT platforms is really, really expensive. What is the role of digital services platform in the market? Let's look at some examples. The first one is about a company called MOL. MOL is one of the largest gas and oil companies in Central Europe. And they decided to get into the EV space with a brand called Plug-E. And what they were looking for is a solution that will enable them to expand to those different markets while providing solutions for both their gas stations, convenience stores. They need to integrate with loyalty plans. And on top of that, they want to expand to fleet support and to fuel cards. So we are providing them the entire solutions, both from operational excellence, billing, energy management, all the suite. And if we look at the different countries, each country has its own app, its white label solution. It has its own app with its own language. We are doing internal roaming between the different countries, so each customer of one country can charge in the Plug-E network in the other country. But more than that, we also developed additional connections, roaming connections, through Object. So it means that in this case, each country has beyond the connection of the other countries, connection through Object. So it's about 6, 7 connections in each country and connection between the different players. Really complex, and thank you for the Object team for supporting us in doing that. Another example is Mer. Mer Group is a subsidiary of Statkraft. Statkraft is the largest renewable company in Europe. And Mer decided to get into the EV field by acquisitions. So they acquired 2 companies in the UK, 2 companies in Germany, a company in Sweden, a company in Norway. Each company needs to work as a standalone company with their own interfaces and some developments in their field. And all of that needs to be with one platform. So they selected Driivz, and we've migrated those solutions into the Driivz platform, providing the back office solution, but still we enable Mer to integrate with their current solutions in the different countries. So it is a complex environment, but think about mergers and acquisitions. You need to change the previous solution of the company that you acquired in order to have one interface that will fit it all. And think about the amount of roaming through Object, through specific peer-to-peer connection like OCPI. So it's a huge amount of interfaces. If we look on the platform, what does it mean, digital services platform? So first of all, we need to support the drivers with white label solution. It can be a solution which is white labeled by Driivz or provided by our customers. On the top level, what you see is that we need to support the operational side. So it's both the CPO, the charge point operators, the hardware side. And when you're talking about hardware side, we heard a lot about the issues with the chargers in the last panel. And it's true. You go to the charger as a driver, and the charger doesn't work. So what do? We have developed tools that first of all monitors the issues on the charger, so we know when there are issues, and we know to alert on that on real time. But we took it to the next step. We developed self-healing algorithms, so we know how to solve most of the issues on the chargers remotely without even, before if the driver or the operators even know that there was an issue. Only about 2% of the cases you need to send someone to the site. Beyond that, self-healing is a key. And then we are providing also support to the installers, energy management, and from the eMobility service providers, we are providing billing, really extensive billing across the US, across Europe, in many countries, with the different regulations around that. So we provide both the roaming solution and the customer-facing solution and the billing around that. But it's not enough. We have another layer because the ecosystem now expands. So the layer is about connecting to the fleets, for instance. So a fleet needs to have solutions for the fleet managers. Solutions for the fleet managers, meaning that the fleet manager will see if the chargers are up and running ready for him, but he is focused on the vehicle, on scheduling the charging. On the other hand, we have facility managers that cares about the charging and how the charging supports the entire fleet. So it's about solutions for fleets, multi-dwelling units, condominiums, and the entire ecosystem. It's not enough because on top of that, we need energy management, and energy management works both in the local site, so making sure that there is enough energy to support the charging, but also connection to demand response. On top of all of that, our customers can buy everything out of the box, or they can choose their own models. They can configure the models, they can develop based on that. So we have APIs, our customers can develop their own apps on top of the platform. So that's part of the scalability that is needed. The market is complex, so we have the mobility side, the location side, the power side. We have connection to different networks and roaming and operations and legacy solutions. So how do you connect all of that? We need apps for the drivers. We need portals for the drivers. We need to make sure that we support the locations. We need to make sure that we are supporting the ecosystem, like with loyalty plans. And also, we need to work with standards, like the OCPP is a de facto standard in many cases today. We brought it even to Japan. And beyond that, ISO 15118 is critical, so working with standard is critical, working with local microgrid, and also working with the energy ecosystem. We are using OpenADR for that. And from roaming, it's either working with OCPI as a peer-to-peer connection, or we are working a lot with Hubject and sometimes Driivz and other providers. Energy management is a key. So let's look at the challenges. First challenge is, how do you support the sites if you don't have enough energy? What does it mean? You need to know how much energy gets into the site and how you manage the constraint of the site itself. If you don't have enough power, then you need to add batteries, renewables. You can charge the batteries from the vehicle, so you can get up to a futuristic thing, which is vehicle to grid. On top of that, you need to know when is the most effective and cost-effective time to charge. So it's about time of use. And the last thing is about connecting to demand response. So how does that work? We need to make sure that the chargers are managed properly in the charger level. What you see in the right-hand corner on the bottom is the outcome of what we see after site survey. We enter the data about the site, and then this map is created. But it's not only the map. What is being created is all the algorithms, smart charging algorithms, to support the site. So we know how to manage, how to select which car we charge now in order not to exceed the boundaries of the site. But it's not enough to do that on the parking lot level. We need to do it on the campus level and also on the smart city level. So that's what you see on the left bottom side. Now, when you don't have enough power, what you see in the bottom, the orange one, is about how do we charge batteries and discharge the batteries in order to support the site. And on the left side, what you see is how we look at each part of the network. The orange line is about how much energy we have. The purple line is about time of use, when it's more cost-effective to charge. The light blue is about how much energy the site consumes. And the dark blue is how much we provided to the vehicle. So we are playing between the vehicles, and it's important to do that across the network. And why is that important? Because if you look at this case of the Netherlands, you see that now we have challenge both with the high voltage networks. Sometimes you have too much energy. Sometimes you don't have enough energy. Up to the level on the impact, and this is the Netherlands, on the impact, the green one is the impact of the EV charging on the grid. So you see major impact. The only way to work it out is to make all of that happen and work together. So how do you do that? It starts with energy producers, then it moves to balancing parties, TSO, DSO, the grid, metering parties, up to the consumers. Then, if you look at consumption, average consumption on a year, it's about 3,600 kilowatts. One vehicle adds up 6,500 kilowatts. So it's a lot of power. How do you manage that if each transformer needs to support 10 homes? You can't. So you need to work out with renewables, batteries, and make sure that you also add the vehicle into the picture. And the only way to do that is with the system like that you see it on the local on the charge point part, on the parking lot level, and on the campus level and beyond with those systems that we've shown you before. This is being done today. So key takeaways, it's a lot to put everything in a couple of minutes, but it's about the technology. Second, it's about the functionality and then methodology. So from technology perspective, you need a scalable solution. You need to make sure that you have the right APIs to support expansion. You need to have smart energy management, but you need also to have solution for operational excellence, like self-healing. On top of that, you need to make sure that you have the AI, artificial intelligence, because otherwise, it's really hard to support what we spoke about from operational excellence perspective, knows when the chargers are expected to be broken and then replan, or from energy management perspective, to know how to commit to the plan that you get from the different operators. If you commit, you make money, you monetize it. If not, you are being penalized. So how to balance that? It's with AI. From functionality perspective, it's really important that the driver will be in the center and provide an easy-to-use solution for the drivers and operators. We need to support charging back both at public, semi-public, homes. We need to support all those business use cases. And beyond that, it's about smart energy management, as we mentioned before, and roaming. Methodology is not less important, because it's not only about the technology, it's how you implement that. So how do you have methodologies to make proper implementations? How do you make sure that you have proper SLA, support service level agreement? Because otherwise, it won't work. You need to do it when you're looking at a scalable world. You need to support that, and it means a lot of tools and a lot of automation. So it's automation in all aspects, QA automation up to operational automations. We replaced all our development, all our operations, we converted that into DevOps, meaning automation of the development processes, but also automation and delegation of the responsibility to the different parties, because if you put all the burden of this on the support, then we'll have economical issues. So what we do, we delegate, so that the tenant or the secretary of the tenant in a C&I building, commercial industrial building, can schedule the charging, can support the charging locally if the tenant wants. If not, they get the help from the operator. So scaling up, it's not only about the system, the technology, it's also about scaling up the processes and supporting the variety of players in the market to ramp up their business in the way they want. Not less important is interfacing and roaming, and then also the implementation side and the methodology is not less important than the rest of the things. So if we'll get down to all of that, we truly believe that if we look at this scalable market as an opportunity, and we look at the EVs as battery storage on wheels, we will be able to make another revolution and support the energy revolution in a way that will reduce the CO2 emissions dramatically. Because think about it, if you have renewables, you know when you have the generation, not necessarily that's when you need a demand. How can you balance that? You need batteries. So if the batteries are the vehicles, and you're using it as part of the ecosystem, then it's another story, and then we can recharge the planet back and create a better world for our kids. So thank you, guys. I left some time for questions. Thank you. And by the way, we have a booth in the innovation side, so you are welcome to come and meet the Driivz team over there.
So Doron, thank you very much indeed. You see how quickly the auditorium has filled up, I know.
So now we need to start from the beginning?
Well, we don't have time for that, but we definitely do have time for people to grab your app, and you can still type in any question that is on your heart or mind for Doron about anything that he talked about in his presentation. Doron, if you don't mind, I would like to ask you a question, because what caught my attention on your list of things under the category of technology that are going to be very important is artificial intelligence. And I'm just curious to hear, first of all, how does Driivz already incorporate artificial intelligence, and where do you see it moving in the future?
Yes, thank you. Great question and great challenge. So what we see is, think about the energy ecosystem, and now you have some commitment or prediction of the amount of power that can be generated on a certain area, and also the consumption in a specific area. So the balancing parties, those parties needs to commit on the power that is being used and produced. How can you commit on the part of the EVs if you don't predict based on data and AI? It's hard to predict. You need to look at the data, and you need to commit to how much energy you are going to spend in the next 12 hours in like about 15 minutes intervals. And if something goes wrong and you don't cope with it, you get penalties. So how can you work on that when you have large numbers? The only way to do prediction is with AI. The other way to look at it is, think about a depot. If you are coming to a depot and plan all the energy about how much energy you have, how much energy you're going to use, and then a charger breaks, or several charger breaks, you need to do replanning again. So you need to know when this is going to happen, again with AI. And also the alert management system that we have and the self-healing must be based on some statistics and tools. The only tools that are there are AI, but it's a complex issue.
For sure. We do have a couple of questions from our participants. Can we pull those up for us to have a look at? There we go. So Danyar is asking if you can go into more detail about how you use ML for maintenance of the charging infrastructure, and how much predictive analytics do you use?
So when you're looking at the charger, it's different when you're looking at different types of charging. So fleet charging may be different than home charging, etc. And then when we are looking at predictions about what issues are going to happen, we need to look at the historical data and understand and predict how much it is. So some of it is about statistics about what happened before, and some of it is about how do you predict what happened and how do you figure out what the next resolution will be. So sometimes it's, and by the way, the challenging part here is also to see how you act, not only how you predict, but if you predicted something, how will you react to some cases? And what we have, we see some cases of the chargers of specific vendors, and we need to learn what are the issues that are being raised in a specific situation, and then how we are going to react to that. Sometimes it can be some reset of some components, but in many cases, it's sending a set of commands after we learn how this issue is rolling out through the system. And again, it gets into a lot of data learning, and we have history of data around EV charging since 2014, and that's something that is still evolving. We are still learning. We reach a situation that we get up to 80% of the cases that we can fix automatically, and the rest is being done by the operators, and about 2% you need to send someone to the site. But I would like to see it like even more. It will take time until we'll reach that.
Okay, can we have a look at our next question? This one was sent by Christian Hahn himself. So he asks, how important is the topic of smart charging for your business?
It's critical because many examples. Talk about commercial industrial buildings. In many cases, there is not enough power for the EVs anymore. So what do? You don't provide energy to the tenants. You must find a way to balance that. Otherwise, you can't provide enough energy. So we have customers that are using depots, like Volvo trucks. We have customers like big fleets that are using depots for charging. How can you manage that if you are not balancing the energy in a proper way? And we see that all over. So without smart charging, it's hard to sustain the business anymore because the amount of vehicles are growing and the infrastructure can support that without smart charging.
Thank you very much for that answer. We have our next question. Let's pull it up. So this one comes from Melanie, and she asks, are you doing or planning to do Driivz managed roaming for your customers?
So there are different aspects of roaming. In some cases, we are using OCPI. For instance, we connected EVgo, our customer in the US, to ChargePoint with OCPI connection, and then we are managing the roaming for them and the interconnect for them over there. We are not trying to compete with Hubject, Driivz, and those parties. If there is a need for roaming over OCPI, we do provide the services. So it's about combination. Our customers can pick and choose how they work. We have a very strong billing system, which know how to manage interconnect. But in many cases, it's connection to Hubject as it's easier for the customers and faster to implement, Hubject, Driivz, and those companies. So we are doing it when the customer wants us to do that.
Okay, I think we have time maybe for one more question. Let's have a look. So this is from Claudio, and he asks, what makes Driivz a scalable platform?
So thank you for the question, by the way. So it's about, first of all, modularity and the ability to define which models we are managing. And our platform is based on microservices. So we can expand the amount of services in specific situations. Like if you have a need to expand the station manager, you can add additional resources and expand that. We are looking at the situation now, and we are investing a lot of money, not only for what we are currently having, which, as you saw, it's hundreds of thousands of chargers. We are looking at the millions and tens of millions, and we are investing a lot of money in getting it to the next stage. Second thing is about billing. The billing is really extensive, and it can support a variety of different business models, and it can scale up the business when our customer needs that. The scalability is both on a country level, but multiple countries as well. So scalability beyond that, it's about automation. We are investing a lot in automation. So it's about QA automation, it's about automating the operational side, it's about automation within the product itself. And on top of all of that, we enable our customers to delegate services to their other customers. So for instance, operators can delegate things to the fleet managers or to the secretaries just to do whatever is needed in order to work and operate in a world which is really scaling up fast. So we invest a lot in scalability. And I think beyond that, we have proven experience. So if you will ask our customers, you'll see that they are working in large environments, and the scalability of our platform is kind of proven and known in the market. So we made it happen because we believe that the market is scaling up, and we are investing a lot of money in it.
So Doron Frenkel, I think we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so very much indeed, Doron Frenkel, CEO of Driivz.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.